The Last of Us Part 2, The Last of Us Part 2, The Last of Us Part 2, and The Last of Us Part 2, and The Last of Us Part 2. The Last of Us Part 2, and The Last of Us Part 2, The Last of Us Part 2. The Last of Us Part 2, The Last of Us Part 2.
Doom Eternal has been nominated for Game of the Year, similar to how Doom 2016 was up for the same prize but got snubbed by Overwatch. Is Doom Eternal Game of the Year material? I'm not sure. I haven't played the other nominees, but I don't think it'll win either way. If you hold a gun up to my head and made me pick who was actually going to win, I would have to say The Last of Us Part 2. Now, I've heard very mixed things about that game, and while I don't have an opinion on it either way, it seems like the video game equivalent to Oscar bait. It apparently has a touching story, compelling characters, and the gameplay, it looks pretty fun, but that's about it. Regardless of the divisive reaction, all signs point to The Last of Us taking the Game of the Year spots by far. But at the same time, Overwatch also took Game of the Year in 2016, and I don't think that was deserved at all. So who knows. The other nominees include Animal Crossing, Hades, Ghost of Tsushima, Final Fantasy VII Remake, and yours truly, Doom Eternal. Doom Eternal is a mechanically sound game and has everything going for it, but I just have a feeling that people are going to vote Last of Us or even Final Fantasy VII Remake. I want Doom Eternal to beat the competition because it brought back and expanded upon the old FPS genre, but I can't see it being a reality. If it's not Last of Us, I think Hades might come in and sweep the competition. You know how people adore these indie games and get them to Game of the Year status. The closest we're going to get to Doom Eternal winning any sort of Game of the Year award, in my opinion, is in the action games category. I know that people like to wank off story and compelling narrative in games, and it's usually those titles that win Game of the Year, but in the action category, that doesn't matter at all, and what does matter is whether the game provides thrilling set pieces and combats. Doom Eternal destroys the competition in terms of this criteria, and it might even win Best Music and Sound Design as well. I'm rather excited to see the outcome of this Game of the Year event, and while Doom Eternal is a quality video game with tons of effort and love poured into it, I don't see it winning, and I think the Oscar baity Last of Us Part 2 will rip the competition in half. The only other game I see winning is Hades, as the indie titles get lots of love nowadays, and I'm not saying that these two don't deserve to win Game of the Year. I haven't played them, so how can I actually judge, but due to my own biases, I want Doom Eternal to pull through, obviously. As for Animal Crossing, I know that people adore this game and everything, but Game of the Year? Really? I don't see this being a likely outcome, but you never know. Overwatch did win over Doom in 2016, which is a fucking outrage, so anything can happen. Final Fantasy is a treasured franchise in the gaming industry, and if it ends up winning, I wouldn't be surprised either. Ghost of Tsushima is the wild card in all of this, and by all means, that could win too. With all of the competition this year, except for perhaps Animal Crossing, I don't see Doom Eternal pulling out a victory. It's an incredible fucking game, and I want to see it win, but I just think that the gaming industry will say, oh yeah, Doom was a fun time, and not much else, when there's plenty going on under the hood. All of the systems and mechanics can get very deep, but I assume that goes for many games on the nominee list. We'll wait and see, but unlike 2016 where I feel like Doom was robbed of a victory, 2020 has some fairly steep competition, and if Doom 2016 couldn't win, then I don't know about Doom Eternal. Still though, whatever happens, id Software has made a terrific game, and perfected the single-player FPS genre, as I've outlined in part 9 of my Doom review series. What do you think the Game of the Year will be? I haven't played most of these games, so I can't give you an accurate idea of how things will play out, so I want to turn it over to you guys. Two things to think about. What game do you want to win? Maybe you had a really personal experience with Hades and you wanted to win badly, similar to how I feel with Doom Eternal. And the second question is, what do you think is the most likely to win Game of the Year? I believe The Last of Us will, without a shadow of a doubt, since it seems like the video game version of The Post. But we'll wait and see. Thanks for watching.